What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 276 of Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie, and normally I would say, welcome to the War Room, which is the room in my house that we named the show after, which is where all of my military memorabilia is, and also where the bar is, which is exactly why we started getting together back on March 14th of 2020. And we did 80 nights in a row through COVID. And then we turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show every Tuesday night at 8:30, originally starting on Facebook, and we have now expanded to Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And we're not in the War Room tonight, as many of you can tell. So tonight, for a couple of reasons that I'll explain, we are actually in the Mistress Carrie studio, otherwise known as MCHQ. So the War Room is a different room in the house, but MCHQ is actually the recording studio where I record the Mistress Carrie podcast, do a lot of the radio work that I do now, and just all of the recording and producing. And for a few different reasons, I had to do the show from here tonight. First of all, we canceled the show last week because I was getting ready to be off for a few days for the long holiday weekend and preparing for my sister's college graduation and the giant party that took place over the weekend to celebrate her master's degree from Harvard. Humble brag. Super proud of my sister. Just amazing. And I'll tell you guys all about the graduation if you want to know. The other thing is I got a gift that I wanted to show you guys, an addition to MCHQ. I haven't figured out exactly where it's going to be mounted yet, but I got a new sign for the studio. And I wanted to show you guys, I got a little gift from the Hubs. Mr. C hooked me up. This surprise box shows up. It's this giant, huge shipment. And I was like, what the hell is it? It didn't come with a card, didn't come with anything. I opened it up. Freaking badass. I was so excited. So that is going to be the new addition to MCHQ. I just don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but I wanted to show you guys. So that was the other reason why I wanted to do the show from MCHQ tonight. So Bish says, Keith just fainted when you said mounted. Let me say hi to everybody checking in. What's up, Travis on YouTube? Eric's checking in on Facebook. Josh, what's up? Travis wants to know, am I using Restream? Nope, I'm still using the same stuff that I was using before. Hello, Alicia Marie. Steven is joining us with Marcy, Carol, Michelle. Mr. Cole is here. Brett is here. Don LeBlanc. Jonathan saying broadcasting from MCHQ. Ash is here. What's up, Rachel? Brett says, welcome to MCHQ. Bish says, and we are live. David says, WAF, let's get it back. David, it's been 4 years. I really don't think that there's a possibility of it ever coming back. I guess I can't say never, but I sincerely doubt it. So what's up, Alexis? Elsa is joining us here in MCHQ tonight as well. Trina and Gina. Marcy says, nice, Mr. C. Eric says, after work tonight, I am eating magic mushroom gummies and watching the Lady Gaga Chromatica Ball tour film. At least you've got a plan. That sounds like a hell of a way to spend the night. Elsa says, blueberry cobbler. Byron says, what's up, MC? Checking in on Facebook. Donna says, that sign is amazing. I know. I was so excited about it. I just thought it was so cool. Elsa says, no pants day. Let's see. Kim saying, what's up, MC? Alexis says, the sign is so cool. Christine says, number 276. Tracy and Brad joining us on Facebook as well. So if you're new to Cocktails in the War Room, Usually we're in the actual war room. Tonight we're in MCHQ, but every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern, you can find me live on Facebook, on Instagram. For the Instagram viewers, by the way, I cannot see your comments, and the aspect ratio is a lot different than it is on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Carol says, went to Nashville last week. 6 days overkill. 3 days is enough. It is kind of like Vegas, where like I think anything more than 5 days and you're lucky to make it out alive. Eric wants to know where my co-host is. Now, if you're new to the War Room, you don't know that I have a co-host. If you are OG War Room family, as we call you guys, you're very well aware of my co-host. She's right there. Right, Wednesday? Wednesday is stalking from the couch. Hi, Wednesday. Can you say hi? What are you doing? Doesn't she look cute? Bish says, Carrie, how about them Celtics? Look, we lost Bill Walton, and to have the Celtics go to the finals on the same day that Bill died at the age of 71, I think the rest of the Celtics season, this championship run now, has got to be dedicated to Bill Walton. It's just got to be. Jason says, what's up, Carrie? Sorry, I am late. Kevin says, happy birthday to me, number 62. Well, happy birthday, Kevin. Brett says, you need a pug cam for MCHQ. I know. Tracy says, the spicy pug. Jessica says, hey, Carrie, sorry I'm late. I know I need a pug cam, but she's just kind of like, what are you doing Wednesday? Do you want to come over here? Come here. You just going to hang out there on the couch? She likes the purple couch in MCHQ. She comes down here all the time when I'm working in the studio, and she just sits on the couch back there. She has a bed, too, that's like right here next to my chair. But she really likes sitting up on that couch. I just think she likes being a little taller because she's so tiny. Right? It's like I have a little secret door with the chair when I swivel. There she is. Now she's gone. There she is. Ridiculous. Jason says, watched Full Metal Jacket last night for the first time. Could not stop laughing at the sergeant at the beginning. You've never seen that movie before, Jason? It's hilarious. Rachel says, I have never seen Wednesday stay that still before. When she comes down here, this is kind of like where she comes to like nap, because she falls asleep during my show all the time. I try not to take it personally. Steven says, what's up, Mistress Carrie and gang? Keith says, happy birthday, Kevin. Ryan says, Carrie, love the Son of Sam story right after Bodies on the Bone tonight. Had me cracking up on my way down 95. Thank you, Ryan. So in case you missed the story today, Son of Sam, the murderer from the 70s in New York City, he was denied parole for the 12th straight time. He's 70 years old. He's still in prison. I didn't even know he was still alive. And so when I'm doing the radio shows, I always kind of plot out, okay, I want to talk about this here, talk about that there. And it's like, okay, well, I know that the music is all part of it, but I kind of didn't realize when I was like, I want to talk about Son of Sam, that it was literally coming out of the song Bodies and going into the song Barely Breathing, and I'm talking about a serial killer. That was not on purpose. Let's see. Tomorrow is my dad's 75th birthday, says Jessica. Just crazy. Make sure you say happy birthday to your dad. Mr. Parker says, good evening, everybody. You too, Wednesday. Michelle says, congratulations to Jelly Roll for the Grammys. He most definitely deserves them. Wait, hold on. The Grammys? The Grammys aren't until like later, like next year. Eric wants to know, do I think Selena's killer is going to get parole? I hope not, for her sake. Annie Jones checking in. What's up, Annie Joan? who made killer macaroni and cheese for my sister's graduation party, by the way. She showed up to the party a little late because she had to work, and she was like, where's the macaroni and cheese? And we're like, everybody ate it already. Like, you should have made 2 trays of it because it was delicious. Rachel says, did you mean the ACMs? Yeah, I believe she meant the Academy of Country Music Awards because the Grammys aren't until later. So just to kind of recap, my sister's graduation was great. Last week, I took the end of the week off, raced around to try to get the house ready for her party. My husband arrived late night the night before the graduation so that my sister and every other graduate was only allowed 2 tickets for the commencement. So even though there were so many friends and family members that wanted to go to the graduation, they couldn't. My husband and I got my sister's 2 tickets, which we were so grateful that we were the people she wanted there the most. So we went to the graduation. We had to get up really, really early. Harvard's graduation is in 2 parts, a morning exercise and an afternoon exercise. The morning exercise is the entire graduating class. Harvard Law School, Harvard Medical School, the graduate degrees, the undergraduate degrees. They're all in Harvard Yard. It was the 373rd Harvard commencement. And there's only limited seating all around Harvard Yard. Then it's standing room. There's jumbotrons all over the yard. And so we wanted to get there early. So we woke up really, really early. We drove to the train station and took the train into Harvard Square because there's nowhere to park. We made it in with plenty of time to find my sister, take pictures before the ceremony. We had to walk through a lot of protesters. There was a lot going on in Harvard Square that day. The morning commencement is all of the speeches, the dignitaries, the honorary degrees, but they don't actually give out the degrees during the morning exercise. Then you break for lunch. And then in the afternoon, the individual colleges have a ceremony where the person actually gets called up on stage and receives basically the folder their degree comes in. Harvard's degrees get actually shipped out. And you only get 1 original copy. You can order copies, but they actually say copy on them. So you only get 1 original copy of your degree. So we made reservations in Harvard Square for lunch. We went to the morning exercises. Then we had lunch. While we were eating lunch, it started raining. So when it was time to walk to the afternoon exercises, we got soaked. The afternoon exercise was delayed like 30 minutes because there was lightning in the area. So everybody had to go inside. My sister's degree was given out at the Museum of Natural History in Harvard's complex. And then Dawn of Death says, you say Harvard, not like a lady from Worcester. Thanks, Dawn, on Twitter. It's all those broadcasting classes that I took back in the day. I went to Harvard Yard to watch my sister graduate. So they finally got the ceremony underway. My sister was like number 1,300 out of 1,500, so it was a very long day. By the time we got back on the tee, got home, it was really late. And then the next day, we worked in the yard all day to get ready for the party. Everything got delivered. Tents, we had a bouncy house, we had tables, chairs, and then all of the catering stuff and the charcuterie trays and the ice cream cakes and just all of this stuff started getting delivered. And then we woke up Saturday morning, ran around, got a bunch of food cooked, and then the party was Saturday all day and night. Late Saturday night and Sunday morning, we had to try and clean up because we knew the rain was coming on Sunday afternoon. It poured Sunday night and then all day Monday. So cleaning up after the party was a disaster. We had house guests straight through, and this is the first time that like there are not extra people sleeping in the house tonight. Like, it was just a whirlwind. I'm so grateful that all of the radio stations gave me the time off. I should have probably taken another day or 2 off just because of the party. We were exhausted. We like the night before the party, we went to bed at like 10 o'clock at night because we were just so tired from getting ready. It was so hot. Gina says a bounce house. Yes, my sister insisted that we have an adult size bounce house for all of her graduate friends, all of her wicked smart friends that came to the graduation party. She wanted a bounce house. We said, you can have whatever you want. She said her 2 requests were a bounce house for adults and ice cream cake that she wanted for the party. And we were like, no problem, whatever. Adult booze and a bounce house sounds like a party to me. Let me tell you what, it was a blast. It was so much fun. We had a lot of kids show up to the party, family, friends, whoever brought kids over. And so we would let the kids go in there for like 15 minutes and then they had to get out. It was really hot. So we're like, take 5. Then the adults would go in for like 5 minutes and then the adults needed a break and then the kids would go back in. It was really funny. So the party went off without a hitch. Super proud of my sister. It was amazing. One of the other things that happened was, last Tuesday night, I canceled the War Room at the last minute, which I apologize for. I got a call from Head from Korn. And you guys heard him on the podcast talking about Atlantic Recovery, which is his new mental health and recovery facility that he opened in Massachusetts. And he called me at the last minute and was like, hey, I'm coming to Massachusetts. Are you free on Tuesday? You promised me Italian food. Let's go out for dinner. And I was like, are you available another night? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, I promised you Italian dinner. So I scrambled to make reservations, got into Strega. Ra from Korn, the bass player, and Head were both in town. So we met with some friends down at Strega in the North End, had an amazing dinner, and then I walked Head and Ra from Korn around Faneuil Hall, the Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy Greenway. We walked around the Freedom Trail a little bit. I took them to Modern Pastry. We went and sat on the swings that are on the Greenway and just like hung out for an hour. And he was like, Boston is awesome. He's like, I've come here so many times. And except for the first Korn tour, we never had time to kind of walk around and see the city. And so we had a blast. So that's why I canceled the War Room last week. So I apologize. But we had a really, really good time in Boston. He cannot wait to come back in September because Korn is on their 30th anniversary tour and going to be at the Xfinity Center. What's up, Shelly? Joining us on Facebook. And Brendan says, well, you can't turn down Head. That's awesome. I couldn't say no. I promised him Italian dinner the next time he came to Boston. He called me up on it. I did not take him to Fenway because he just wanted to go out for dinner and then kind of walk off dinner a little bit. So we went to Modern after, and then we just kind of walked around for a while. And I filled him in on some of the history of the city. And Josh says, no need to apologize for canceling to hang out with Head. David Parker says, don't apologize. Enjoy your life. It was a good time. We had a really, really good time. We never get to kind of hang out because every time he's in town, normally it's on tour. And so to be able to just kind of go and eat dinner with friends. He had a lot of friends that were going to the Celtics game. So they met us for dinner and then they all went to the Garden. And we walked around for a while, which was really cool. Donna says, don't worry about it. You have to keep your word. I promised him. I didn't know he was going to want dinner on a Tuesday. But that's what happened. The other thing that happened since we got together last that I want to talk just briefly about is that we lost John Wysocki, the original drummer for Mustained, who played on 7 of the 8 Stained records. You guys will remember him because he joined us here in the War Room with his band Lydia's Castle. After John left Stained, he relocated to Nashville. We bumped into each other in Nashville at the Rock Podcast Convention a couple years ago, which is where we took this picture. And he was like, hey, can my band come on your show? And of course, it was still kind of during COVID weirdness and whatever. And I was like, yeah, come in the War Room. And so the band did. And we talked about what it's like to be a local rock band trying to make it in, the city that's built on country music. And we talked about what was going on with Lydia's Castle. So last weekend, I got a call from Tanya, the lead singer of Lydia's Castle that you guys met here in the War Room, telling me that John was really sick and that he was in the hospital, that he was in a coma, and that they weren't really sure what his prognosis was going to be. And she had asked if I could help put her in touch with some of our mutual friends, which I said, of course. And so I gave her some contact information. I reached out to some of those friends to kind of let them know that John was sick, and because his loved ones were trying to get a hold of some of his music friends. And I asked her to keep me up to date on what was going on. Last Saturday night, I went and saw Maylene and the Sons of Disaster at the Palladium, which is Jason Todd, the original guitar player from Shinedown's band. And while I was there, I got word that John had passed away. And for anybody that knew John and I went way, 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 way back to before Stained got their record deal. Obviously, Stained is a local band. John and I hung out so many times, came up to the studio at club shows. When we bumped into each other kind of randomly in Nashville, it was like no time had passed since I had seen him last. And I was really grateful when I found out that he was sick, and then when he passed away, that we had bumped into each other again in Nashville, because I didn't know that that's where he had kind of ended up. That he had settled in Nashville, created a new life. He was doing a lot of studio recording work down there, was in Lydia's Castle, and had kind of just moved on from Stained in his life. And thankfully, after we bumped into each other in Nashville, we swapped so many old stories in front of the members of Lydia's Castle that it was like John and I had seen each other like the day before. And we kept in touch like pretty often since we bumped into each other in Nashville a couple of years ago. And I'm so grateful that this kind of chance encounter in Music City happened, because, we really got to talk about the early days of our careers and, what those early friendships meant, how grateful we were that, kind of our whole generation of people in the music business were still around and still friends. And, having just seen the Stained guys a few weeks ago during the Tailgate tour, it just broke my heart that John is gone. It's just so sad and tragic that he's gone. Lisa wants to know where I'm broadcasting from. We're in MCHQ tonight, Lisa. I want to take you to MCHQ tonight. Brennan says Mud Shovel will always be one of my favorite songs. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely love that song. What's up, Mark Straight, joining us? So it's just heartbreaking. I've been in contact with Tanya from Lydia's Castle since. I know that they are putting together a musicians memorial service with all of John's kind of musician friends. I think they're going to do it in Nashville. Tanya had also asked if she could come on the show to kind of talk about John and talk about the memorial service. So I think in the next week or two, that John's band Lydia's Castle will join us back here in the War Room again, to talk about John and kind of talk about what their plans are to kind of remember John. And so I'll have more details on that. Jessica says, I have the CD from Stained, Break the Cycle. Do we know if the boys from Stained are doing anything for him? Brendan, I don't know. I did get in touch with the guys. They were playing a huge festival show. They had limited access to internet, but I was able to get a hold of Mike. And he was aware of what was going on. At the time, John was just really sick and hadn't passed yet. And So I don't know. I mean, obviously the band put up, really touching tributes when the news broke that he passed. I don't know what the plan is to memorialize John. I don't know if the guys from Stained are going to be part of that memorial. I don't know right now. So I'll let you guys know as soon as I have more details. But Tanya and the members of Lydia's Castle are going to join us here in the War Room again to be able to talk more about the specific details and then obviously about John's musical legacy as well. So the last couple of weeks have been, a lot. There's been a lot going on, and having kind of all of that happening right around taking time off. You guys know that I don't take a lot of time off. And when I do take time off, it is always to prioritize my family. Whether it be my husband and the kids, whether it be, my sister or my extended family. And so to have, John's passing and a surprise visit from Head and all of that happened the week of my sister's graduation. It's just been such a crazy couple of weeks since I joined you guys in the War Room that that was part of it too, was just trying to play catch up. There's a lot going on. I am going to have a big announcement in the War Room next week. Backstage pass holders know what it is, but I can't tell you guys publicly yet. But there will be a big announcement in the War Room next Tuesday night. So that's all I can kind of tell you for now. But there are a lot of moving parts right now. There's a lot going on. And there was just no way for me to kind of catch up with everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks and be able to do the show in the War Room tonight. Like, I just couldn't pull it off. Plus, I wanted to show off the cool new sign. Right? Wednesday is passed out now. Right, Wednesday? Hey, do you want to come over here and sit with me? Come here. Do you want to come sit on my lap? So you can talk to everybody? You see her back there? She's out. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to get to like all of the music headlines and stuff because a ton of shows got announced today that I am still trying to update the website and still kind of get everything kind of caught up. But I do want to remind you guys about some stuff. For anybody that isn't aware, that may be watching on Twitter or on Instagram, that's watching on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, you can hear me every weekday afternoon on 100 FM The Pike here in Massachusetts. You can go to pikefm.com, download the Pike app. You can hear me from 3 to 7 every weekday. The Pikes got their 2 big summer concerts, Hairfest, which is coming up in July, and then Rockfest, which is coming up at the end of August, which is kind of like the big end of the summer party. They are both shows filled with the best tribute bands around. They are both during the day drinking extravaganzas at Indian Ranch in Webster, and details on both of those shows are on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. You can also hear me every weekday afternoon on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. And anytime I'm going to be out and about in the greater Portland area, all of those details are always up on the events calendar as well. Want to recap the podcast because a lot of stuff happened over the last couple of weeks. So, first of all, episode 206 featured Andy Bierzak from Black Veil Brides, talking about the Bleeders EP, talking about the tour with Falling in Reverse, talking about Andy's beloved Cincinnati Bengals. He couldn't have been more right when he was talking about the Boston and New England sports scene, because he said when one team kind of loses, another team picks up the slack, and the Bruins get knocked out of the playoffs, and then the Celtics end up going to the finals. So Andy and I had a great conversation about the Red Cross, about trying to generate blood donations, about my relationship with his wife, Lilith Czar, and about their marriage and what makes it work. So we had a great conversation. So if you missed episode 206 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, that is available now. Episode 207 features Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm, who is working on so many different things. She's guesting on a bunch of different artists' albums. The band is going out on the road with I Prevail. There's an I Prevail collaboration that's getting ready to come out this summer. They're in the middle of working on a new Hailstorm album. So Lizzie has got a lot going on. We talked about my conversation recently with Ash Costello from New Year's Day, and about doing that like women's summit that we were talking about with Lilith Czar and Taylor Mumson and Amy Lee, and trying to get a bunch of women together. And she wants to do it, which is great. And then a bonus episode went live last week that was just in time for Memorial Day weekend because of Shinedown's new hot sauce, which is called Symptom. And Barry Kirch from Shinedown made a bonus appearance on the podcast last week. So a bunch of new episodes have come out since we joined each other here in the War Room. 206 with Andy Bierzak from Black Veil Brides, 207 with Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm, and a bonus episode featuring Barry Kirch from Shinedown. You can get all of those episodes and every episode of the podcast if you go to mistresscarrie.com. The audio is always up, full-length episodes on YouTube, and then anywhere you listen to the Mistress Carrie podcast. I want to tell you who's going to be on the show this week. Episode 208 is going to feature, speaking of badass women in rock and roll, Ale, Danny, and Pau, otherwise known as The Warning. The Villarreal sisters from Mexico. They are a three-piece rock and metal band, and they're sisters, and they are total badasses. I found out that I had a chance to get them on the show. I was super excited. This is one of the bands that recently, when Slash from Guns N' Roses was asked about some of the new bands that he loved, he listed The Warning as one of the bands that he loved. All right, let me catch up with all of the comments here. Carol wants to know, did the Backstage Pass holders meet yet? I think I missed it. Carol, you did not. We did not get together. I wanted to, but the party stuff went so late and so long. Most likely it's going to be this Sunday, though. So I will let the Backstage Pass holders know, but most likely it's going to be this Sunday. Christine, the new sign is a gift from the Hubs. Mr. C got it for me, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show here in the War Room tonight so that you guys could see it. Eric says, Wednesday is like this bitch trying to wake me up. I am sleeping. Yes, I know. Exactly. Let's see. Jessica says, then Chester Bennington had a birthday. Is Amy Lee the new lead singer of Linkin Park? So Jay Gordon from Orgy did an interview saying that he had heard that Linkin Park was working with a female vocalist. Now, Jay Gordon isn't just the lead singer of Orgy. He does a lot of remixes of bands' songs, including remixes for Linkin Park. So it's not like he's just talking about Linkin Park. He knows them. That got everybody wondering who the female vocalist was that Linkin Park could possibly be working with, because Linkin Park is celebrating their 25th anniversary next year. And a lot of people were wondering, with these reissues that, Meteora last year, the Paper Cut Singles collection this year, what Linkin Park was going to do to commemorate their 25th anniversary. And so somebody in an interview recently asked Amy Lee from Evanescence, are you working with Linkin Park? She said, no one has approached me, but I am interested in doing it on a part-time basis. She cited the fact that the bands were friends and that she thought that Linkin Park and Evanescence shared a lot of fan base. And so I think that would kind of be interesting, but nobody knows if or when a female vocalist is going to be joining Linkin Park so that the band can tour next year. But rumor has it that that it is being shopped around, that Linkin Park would play a bunch of massive North American festivals next year to celebrate the band's 25th anniversary. But we don't know if that's going to happen or not. So let's see. Jessica says her voice is amazing. I assume you're talking about Lizzie Hale. It absolutely is. Linda says, I cannot wait for Saturday night to see Shinedown. The only drawback is that it's a Kiss 108 concert, and the only reason I'm going is my 16-year-old granddaughter wanted to go. Pray for me because after they get off stage, I'm going to be curled up in a ball crying. Yeah, the guys in Shinedown are out doing all of these shows for top 40 stations because a symptom of being human is crossing over and becoming a huge top 40 hit, which is unbelievable. So Jessica says you need to have Ann Wilson from Heart on your podcast. Jessica, I already have. She's already been on the show. Nancy Wilson was on the show too. Let's see. What's the date for Hairfest? I think it's June 20th. Hold on, let me double check. No, July 20th. Sorry. Hairfest is July 20th at Indian Ranch in Webster. Let's see. Bish says, I planted flags over the weekend in the Boston Common for Memorial Day. If you've never seen the flag garden, the 37,000 flags that get put up on the hill by the Soldiers Memorial for Memorial Day is a super kind of powerful, awe-inspiring memorial because over 37,000 people from Massachusetts have been killed in action since the Revolution. And they commemorate that sacrifice every year for Memorial Day. And they're always looking for volunteers to put the flags in the ground. So that's pretty awesome. Bish says also Lizzie Hale working with Skid Row. She talked a lot about being on the road with Skid Row on last week's podcast episode as well. Let's see. Joshua says there's video floating around of a woman singing Linkin Park with Linkin Park. Nobody knows what's going on yet, so we'll find out. Hey, peeps, just had dinner at the Roadhouse in Leominster. What's up, Tom? Rich says, I have tickets to see The Warning in September. Cannot wait. They're awesome. I cannot wait for you guys to get to know the girls. I interviewed all three sisters at the same time. They were an absolute blast. I have no idea how long Shinedown's going to be playing at the Kiss concert, but since it's not a headlining gig, I wouldn't imagine, meaning it's just a Shinedown show. It's not just a Shinedown show. It's a big festival show, so I don't know how long they're playing. Let's see. Alicia says, I just bought VIP tickets to see Godsmack at Mohegan. Cannot wait. Yeah, Godsmack announced a show at Mohegan with Flat Black and Nothing More, but nothing in Massachusetts as of yet. So we'll see what's going on with that. So that is this week's podcast episode. The girls from The Warning, they are going to be on episode 208. That goes live at midnight tonight. A reminder that if you subscribe to the podcast, not only do you get the weekly episodes that come out every Wednesday, but you also get the Sit Rep, which gives you all of the updates in rock music, all of your music headlines in general, plus news on movies, streaming shows, technology, all of that stuff. And if you subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast, you can subscribe wherever it's convenient for you. So you can listen on Apple or Google, Spotify, on Odyssey and iHeart. But you can also listen to the full-length audio episodes on YouTube. You can go to mistresscarrie.com and just hit play on whatever episode you want to listen to. But wherever you get your podcast, just search the Mistress Carrie podcast. When you see this artwork right here, you know you're in the right spot. And there you go. And a reminder that the Mistress Carrie podcast is available in 149 countries and counting. I check it almost every day to see when we're going to get the 150th country. And, well, we don't have it yet. So if you're celebrating your birthday today, you're sharing it with Wendy O. Williams, with the one and only John Fogerty, and also with Gladys Knight. So if today's your birthday, happy unbirthday, Keith. Ralph says going to Symphony X tomorrow night at the Paradise. Nice. Keith says, Carrie, it's Marcy's birthday tomorrow. Happy early birthday, Marcy. The Sox are up 8-3, says Keith. I believe in the 8th. How long have we been stuck at 149 countries? Josh, for a while. It took us, I think, like 3 years to get to 149 countries, and then we stalled out there. So I don't know when we're going to get 150, but I keep looking. I keep holding out and waiting. Just hasn't happened yet. All right, we talked about John Wysocki from Stained, or formerly of Stained, from Lydia's Castle. As soon as I find out when the band is going to be on the show, I will let you guys know. One of the things I want to let you guys know about is that the Black Keys announced that they are canceling their arena tour. So if you got tickets to this show on November 1st at the TD Garden, the Black Keys just did a bunch of European dates, and they did it in like old theaters. There are rumors online that the Black Keys didn't have great ticket sales for the arena tours in North America. The band is saying that they wanted to revamp how they were going to do the live show and that they wanted more intimate shows. So they are getting ready to re-release tour dates, but that they are canceling the arena shows. And that includes November 1st at the TD Garden. So there are a ton of shows that are getting announced right now. There's 2 dates in September with Sevendust up at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom. There's a bunch of shows that just got announced for Roadrunner, Flat Black, Jason Hook's band, formerly of Five Finger Death Punch, just announced that they are playing the Palladium upstairs on, I believe, July 27th. Steel Panther just put their tour on sale. So there's a lot of shows that are getting added to the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com, which is where you can always go to double check show dates, when tickets are going on sale, click the links to get tickets for basically every show in New England. Don't forget, the DCU Center has got Iron Maiden on November 6th, and the Silver Scream Con with Ice Nine Kills is going to be at the Convention Center at the DCU Center. Big Night Live in Boston has got Cold Chamber coming on September 17th. Those tickets are on sale now. More and more shows are getting announced for the Xfinity Center all the time. The Rolling Stones, by the way, are going to be at Gillette Stadium this Thursday. Greta Van Fleet announced Mohegan Sun on August 2nd. Godsmack's other shows, besides the Mohegan Sun show that we were talking about earlier, the end of October, they're going to be up in New Hampshire and Maine in July. And then after those 2 shows, Flat Black is going to come to Worcester. Leader Bank Pavilion, Lizzie Hale talked a lot about this co-headlining tour with I Prevail, which is going to be at the Leader Bank Pavilion on July 16th. Slash's Serpents tour is coming on August 1st. 311 has got their tour going out at the Leader Bank Pavilion. The Bush Loaded Greatest Hits tour. The Falling in Reverse tour with Dance Gavin Dance, Black Veil Brides, and Tech Nine. That's September 9th. That show is the show that Andy Bierzak from Black Veil Brides was talking about during episode 206 of the podcast. We're talking about the Stones. They're going to be in town on Thursday night at Gillette Stadium. So, of course, it's going to run smack dab into the afternoon commute. So if you live or work anywhere around Route 1, off of 95 or 495 on Thursday afternoon, you're going to want to avoid that area because the Rolling Stones are going to be at Gillette. By the way, that is the 100th concert at Gillette Stadium. And, of course, Metallica are going to have theirs. Did you see that Metallica's stage got struck by lightning over the weekend? Just crazy. Christine says Flat Black put on a great show. Bish says they're charging over $100 per ticket. No one wants to pay for them. Their audience for places like the Xfinity Center. Bish talking about the Black Keys. Let's see. Eric says, Carrie, you're talking about all of the rock news is like Jim Carrey's Grinch in the mailroom. Wait, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Bish says, pray for me. I'm 5 minutes from Gillette. It's not going to be a good day to be by Gillette on Thursday, I will tell you. So a bunch of shows got announced for Roadrunner. I will run down all of that stuff for you next week. I'll have all of these concerts updated for next week's show. It's just been so crazy this last week. Let's see. Hootie and the Blowfish and Collective Soul, obviously, the Foos, Blink, Def Leppard and Journey, Green Day with the Smashing Pumpkins and Rancid, Pearl Jam. There's just so many shows coming. It's going to be so busy. The Palladium, I got to put Flat Black up here, but NoFX is going to be at Campanelli Stadium in Brockton on August 31st and September 1st. I put it with the Palladium because that's a mass concert show as well. And the New England Hardcore and Metal Festival is coming up in September as well. Plus, the MGM Music Hall at Fenway has got everybody from Kings of Leon and Gary Clark Jr. to Sting coming, and more shows getting announced all the time. Rival Sons and Clutch at the House of Blues. Hatebreed with Carcass and Harm's Way and Crypta are going to be at the House of Blues as well. Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin, who released his solo album Infinity Now, he's going to be at the Paradise Rock Club coming up in July. I've got more shows to talk about at City Winery. And, of course, the Day to Remember the Story So Far and 4 Year Strong show at the new stage at Suffolk Downs. That's happening on Friday, June 28th. New releases this week include Willie Nelson, The Border. Also, Exodus is coming out with British Disaster. The Battle live at the Astoria. Duff McKagan's Tenderness live in Los Angeles comes out on Friday. And also Black Sabbath's collection, 89 to 95, Anno Domini, that is coming out on Friday as well. Now, speaking of Sabbath, Ozzy has come out and said that he wants Sabbath to reunite to play one final show before he can't play anymore. Eddie Trunk asked Tony Iommi that recently, would you do it? He said he's interested and we'll see what happens. Now, Geezer has said, even on this show a while ago, that he's not interested in touring, but maybe as a one-off. Whether or not Bill Ward would go back, having had a falling out with Sharon, I don't know, but it would be interesting to see if Ozzy could get the band back together for one final Black Sabbath show. So we'll see what happens. Mail call this week. I want to thank a few people. Denise, thank you so much for the amazing cookies for my sister's party. Michelle, Melissa, both of you sent such amazing gifts for my sister. All of you guys have just been so amazing with everything. Mail call this week. Mr. C makes it into mail call this week with the new sign, which I absolutely love. Jonathan says, Hootie and the Blowfish were great on American Idol. Booty and the Hoefish, says Kevin. John Bon Jovi was on American Idol as well. Did I get more anus cookies? Yes. She sent anise cookies from my sister's party, which everyone raved about. So thank you so much for that. We made some iced coffee for people that weren't drinking and had those cookies, and they were delicious. Lisa says, I love your hair. Did you do something different? No, it's called bleached out from spending so many days straight in the sun. That's what it looks like when it gets all bleached out in the sun. It changes colors, and the lighting here in MCHQ is a little weird. My Muppet lamp is right here on the counter, which has got stained glass panels of Dr. Teethy and the Electric Mayhem Orchestra. So there's a lot of orange in that lampshade. And then, of course, all of the purple light coming off the new sign on the wall. The lighting in here is a little bit different than the War Room. Want to remind you guys about Father's Day. Now that Mother's Day is come and gone, now that Memorial Day is come and gone, new stuff for Father's Day, which is coming up quick. So if you're looking for something for new dad, there is the new Mistress Carrie black and gray 3/4 sleeve jerseys being modeled here by Tim Montana that match the new baby onesies that say, my dad says Mistress Carrie rocks. So you can get a father-son or father-daughter matching outfit for Father's Day. All of these are available. The shirts go up to 4X. The baby onesies are newborn, which is the all gray, and then 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months in the black sleeve and black trim. And then there's the roll-up purple blankets and the pullover hoodies that look like the 3/4 sleeve shirts with the skull artwork on the back. Make great Father's Day gifts as well. And yes, there is going to be a Father's Day sale coming very soon. Keith says, time to get to Linda. Don't worry. Trust me. It's time to get to Linda. Let's see. What else? Okay. Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass holders, there are new tickets coming up for grabs in the next week. I will tell you guys more about that. We're going to do our live stream. Yeah, definitely a typo there. I believe we're going to do a live stream coming up on Sunday night, but I will definitely let you guys know. You also find out who's going to be on the podcast before anybody else. You can submit podcast questions. You get travel blog updates, early access to event information and tickets, inside information about the show, which you already know about the big announcement coming next week. And ticket giveaways. You have access to Cage the Elephant tickets right now. You also get discount codes for new merchandise. So if you don't have a Backstage Pass yet, you can go to patreon.com/Mistress Carrie or click the Patreon link at mistresscarrie.com and get your Backstage Pass. Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to catch up. You guys are so funny. The inside jokes flying in the comments. And then I just want to remind you guys about all of the places that you can track me down online. Between the podcast, being on Instagram and Threads, all the links at mistresscarrie.com. You can listen to the show and interact with the podcast on the Pike app. Go to pikefm.com to download, or on the Bone app. Go to 1063thebone.com to download that. Or you can just check out the show on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Cameo, YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch. And of course, we got to welcome everybody that is watching the show tonight on Twitch, on Twitter, X, whatever, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook as well. And the archived episodes of Cocktails in the War Room live on my YouTube channel as well. And I also want to thank everybody that has been so active on the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock group that I made on Facebook, especially over the long Memorial Day holiday weekend. If you did not know anything about the group, if you go on Facebook, there is a Mistress Carrie group on Facebook called Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock. And it is a group that is there for veterans to share information, to try and track down people that you served with. If you're looking for guidance, whether it comes to filling out VA paperwork, about your DD-214, about your veteran service officers, if you are looking for help navigating resources, if you are a veteran that owns a business and you're trying to get the word out for people that are really looking to support veteran-owned businesses, you can do that there. And it's also a place for civilians that want to do everything they can to support veterans more often, whether it be asking questions, volunteering, fundraising, getting involved in events. This is where you want to go. There's so much going on in the vibrant New England veterans community that I wanted to give people a place to be able to, promote veterans initiatives, to promote veterans businesses, fundraisers, and also for the family and friends of veterans to be able to ask questions as well. But so many people that are just civilians that just want to support our veterans are always asking how to do that. You can find out here. So just Joshua put the link up to the group. Just search on Facebook, Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock, and you can find it, or you can click the link in the comments and be able to check it out. Let's see. So there you go, guys. I apologize that we weren't in the war room tonight. Doing the show from MCHQ kind of changes things up every now and again. Wednesday is still asleep. Right there. Adorable. hopefully the next time I bring the show down in MCHQ, I'll have the new neon sign mounted. I just don't know where. I don't know if I'm going to put it on this wall right here because I love the tapestry on the wall, but I'm running out of wall space down here. Or if I'm going to try and mount it kind of where it is so that it is like behind me when I do interviews and stuff here in the studio, which I might actually do. I just have to figure out how I'm going to do it. So it's a possibility. We'll see what happens. But I like doing the show from down here every now and again. I love the War Room, don't get me wrong, but so many people are always so curious about MCHQ that I kind of like being able to take people down here every now and again. No cocktail tonight, guys, because one, I didn't have a chance to find a recipe, and two, not drinking tonight because I have some recording to do. I am still catching up on everything that didn't get done because I was off over the long holiday weekend. So Byron wants to know how Mom is doing. Mom is okay. She's obviously holding her own. My sister was able to visit her, and we're actually going to bring my sister's cap and gown back and get Mom all made up, and we're going to take family photos with my sister with her cap and gown on soon, which we're really looking forward to doing as well. So she's doing okay. The family has had a couple losses of some, those aunts and uncles that are part of your family that you're not blood related to. We lost my Auntie Ginny this week, and an uncle of mine that was a really, really close friend of my parents. And there's another member of that group of people that grew up with my parents is really sick. So it's been a rough couple of weeks for my family and my family friends on a personal level. So Jessica says Alzheimer's and dementia are just awful diseases. They absolutely are. And I to be honest, when I went to my sister's graduation last week, there were a few times that my husband just kind of looked at me and, just kind of getting hit with this overwhelming feeling of I'm watching my sister graduate with her master's from Harvard and my mom isn't here. And I cried a few times at the graduation just because I was so overwhelmed with the idea that when it comes to family, that my husband and I were the ones that my sister wanted at one of the most important days of her life, which was humbling and amazing, but that our mom is still on this planet and not able to be there. And so it was a pretty emotional day, my sister's graduation day. It was beautiful and amazing. But I think when you are navigating an illness like that, or you are mourning the loss of someone really close, those are the days that make it really hard because it's so noticeable that person's not there. And it was really, really noticeable that my mom wasn't at my sister's graduation, which is why I worked really hard to have that amazing party for my sister, because it's something that my mother would have done. My mom would have pulled out all of the stops on a ridiculous party for my sister. And that's what we did. And I know that my mom would have absolutely loved that party that we threw for her. So, but Mom is doing okay. So thank you guys for asking. All right. Want to remind you guys that the new episode of the podcast comes out at midnight tonight, featuring Ale, Danny, and Pau, otherwise known as the Villarreal sisters from The Warning. That episode goes live tonight, episode 208. We'll be back in the War Room next week. There is a possibility that John Wysocki's band, Lydia's Castle, is going to be joining us next week. Could be the week after. We don't know yet, but we are working on it. And I'll let you guys know. So Wednesday, do you want to say goodnight? Wednesday? Do you want to say goodnight? No? I think she's mad because there's no cookies. There was no mail call. She's like, this sucks doing the show down here. I know. Let's see. All right, everybody that's off to work, have a great night. Thank you guys for joining me. If you're new to Cocktails in the War Room. We get together at 8:30 Eastern every Tuesday night on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Normally it's in the War Room. Tonight in my recording studio, MCHQ, but we'll be back in the War Room next week. And I will see you guys then. Good night, everybody. Thank you guys for all of the love from my sister and all of the amazing gifts that came in the mail. And go Celtics! All right, I'll see you guys later. Good night. Wednesday, say good night. Wednesday, say good night. Good night, everybody.